And today I want to talk about thinking of leads as if there's a gradient of difficulty rather than it being a good or a bad lead. So this is one of the biggest problems. One thing that I see sales reps who have potential sort of stop themselves from getting to where they could be, right? So what they do is they see a lead like one over here, that's a good lead. That's like a lay down, right? Easy peasy sale. You just run the process, it's gonna sell. And then over here, you got the hard lead, right? So then the difficulty scale starts down here, you put a 1, and it goes all the way to 10. And then what people do is they've got their style, what they're good at, how competent they are, and maybe anything up to a difficulty level of like 3, they call a good lead, right? And then the problem there, of course, is you got the laydowns. Anyone's going to sell a laydown as long as they're following the process. But even up to a 3, I mean, like these are going to be the situations that everyone hopes for, but you're just not going to run into very frequently. And then the 4 through 10 is where things get rough. Now, everyone's 4 to 10 is not always the same, right? So some people, they're really good at working with, the guy who's been in the industry before and needs someone who really knows all the details about all the products and everything to convince them, right? Or maybe, so maybe one person's really good at that and they consider that more of like a 5 or a 4 or even a 3 if they're really good at it. But for someone else, that guy may be a 9 for them, right? They never sell that guy. And what this turns into is if they get that guy, they just like, oh, nope, it's a bad lead. Not going to sell it, right? And then if they're really good at the guy they got, maybe it's, oh, I'm really good with, single men in their 30s, right? I always sell those. And for them, it's a difficulty 3. They always sell it, right? For someone else, that same guy, difficulty 8, right? I never sell those. But once more, I always sell it. I never sell it good, bad. Rather than, once more, figuring out where on the gradient that type of lead is, that type of buyer, right? And then getting better and better at it, tackling it, noticing it's your weakness, and getting better and better at it until it goes from an 8 to a 7 to a 6, a 6 to a 5. The next thing you know, the one lead that you used to consider a bad lead is now a 5 difficulty, which you're like, it's, all right, let's go run it, right? Or maybe you get so good at that bad lead that suddenly it's a 3 and it's a good lead, right? And ideally, we always want to keep in our heads, like every lead's a good lead. You don't know how it's going to result until it's actually done. That will get you the best results because then you're not, shooting yourself in the foot and avoiding doing what you need to do to actually close it because you already think like you're not going to close it. So the gradient is the way in order for you to label, right, where you're at and get better at where you're at for each type of buyer, but then also never fall into the trap of hitting that good lead, bad lead mentality. This is how I get better.